Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's matchup. We're going back in time just a little bit, back to the days of UGC. Not literally, this is actually a recent match that happened between Heating Up and Djinn's, or just Djinn's, I suppose, Fabulous 9. Obviously, the star group is in your face right now on the screen. This is a UGC match. It's actually a gold Highlander match, so I look forward to the rest of this match as it proves, actually it doesn't even prove, it is going to be good. That is just what it is. It is going to be good. I personally know two of the people in this match, and by personally I mean I know them over the internet because I don't know too many people personally who play TF2. Maybe one or two, but not many. Either way, let's get the show on the road by hopping immediately into the match as soon as I can find my key to unpress. There we go. So with 1 minute to go, it's going to be interesting to see how we play this. Out the door, we've got a Medigun from Heating Up. And over on the opposite side of things, with the offensive team, it looks like Braz actually. That took me a moment to read. Braz is going, Kritzkrieg, excuse me, that is going to be a Kritzkrieg from the rate it is charging at, unless they're hurting themselves, which they are not. So that is most definitely going to be a Kritzkrieg. Now with 30 seconds left, let's go find the sentry placement and see. It's pretty far back, and it is in an open position, but with the Wrangler, this position is great, as has been proven by previous DSGL matches. That is the Duck Suit Gaming League, which doesn't happen too often. Of course, the Pyro sacrificing himself for the Engineer. And with 15 seconds to go, I think it's almost time to get this show on the road, don't you? So let's see how Heating Up is going to handle the offensive coming from Djinn's, or Djinn's, excuse me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Soldier, Pyro, and Zemo leading the charge here for Djinn's Fabulous 9, or I'm just going to call them the 9 from now on. Immediately scout on the cart, and actually not much resistance coming from Heating Up initially. Engineer comes out to the right side of things, throws down that mini-sentry, and immediately just gets out of there as he realizes that the rest of his team isn't really moving up quite as quickly. So I like this approach they're taking. They're moving up slowly, but right now they're taking some heavy losses as 3 of their players are down. Djinn, actually, one of them, Djinn number 2, which is confusing as he has the 1 next to his name. I apologize, guys, but there's 2 Djinns. There's the one on the bottom who's the soldier, and the one on the top who's the demo. So basically there's 2 of them, and I named one of them number 2. So if it's number 1, it's number 2, technically, but that's confusing. Back to the actual match, though. Mini-Sentry does get moved forward. We're going to see this cap happening pretty quickly here for the Fabulous 9, as they're getting pretty close. Sentry does go down, it appears, and/or got moved backwards. Looks like it just went down, and the cart now will go for the capture. A time of 1 minute and 1 second on stopwatch. Not bad whatsoever for a first cap. Now the medic actually sticking on the cart, not healing anyone, even with a Kritzkrieg, that's really quite weird to see. Over on the other side of things, Iwa actually went down, so that is an unfortunate circumstance that really should not have happened here for Heating Up. Iwa just getting back into the fight here, juggling between the demo and heavy now. It looks like he's going to be sticking primarily with the demo, as we like to see in Highlander, but really he's just sticking between them and trying to keep them both overhealed. A very smart play here. The cart stalls right at the exit of that tunnel, actually, but that's not too surprising. Usually Red can put up a pretty good defense here, and that's exactly what Heating Up is going to do. Bombing Soldier goes after Iwa, but he's going to be able to get out of there quite safely, and in the meantime, Fig Newtonian Physics did go down. His sentry is gone, but Heating Up down 5 players at the moment, so they're not going to be able to hold this very long, if at all, because the cart's going to continue rolling forward here. Iwa desperately trying to get that charge up, and with most of their players dead on long respawn times, the likelihood of that actually happening is pretty low, especially with their heavy soldier. And actually, Kunai stayed up. Master Kunai actually remained living through that entire sequence. A time of 2 minutes and 11 seconds on that stopwatch. That's actually getting really good for Blue Team here, and not looking so good for Red, because once Heating Up has to go back on the offensive cycle here, that's going to be a really fast 2-point capture there. I mean, that is only 1 minute and 6 seconds per cap. That's pretty insane, actually, especially for that second cap there. He was still playing it really safe and conservatively, just hanging back here. Diosha really far back, actually, back behind the 3rd point completely. Kevin just providing some harassment appears and taking down the other scout. Very nicely played by him. I'm just going to sit here and let's watch him twitch. That is what scouts do. They don't miss. They just twitch. Uber does come out for Djinn's Fabulous 9, and a counter Uber from the heating up team, going to be able to basically just do nothing at all. They essentially neutralize each other. But let's see which one comes out on top in the end of it, and it will be Iwa surviving in the end, whereas Braz and Djinn go down. Kefka, in the meantime, did go down for heating up. So really, it's kind of a neutral situation here, except for the fact that the Fabulous 9 medic went down. That was the problem. If the Fabulous 9 medic had not gone down, they would have just come out on top of that instance, winning, essentially. But because their medic went down, they're now set back, and they have a problem, because Iwa's got basically a 40% Uber advantage here. Make that 35%, and the cart actually fails to get up that first hill. So their stopwatch is actually going farther and farther down the drain right now, especially with the 8-minute and 30-second timer left. Hamtech going down, unfortunately, for heating up here. And you know what? I need to stop saying unfortunately. I think everything's unfortunate, apparently. Djinn goes down over for the Fabulous 9. That is a loss they can effectively take at the moment. Uber does go out for heating up. Kefka getting Ubered, and unfortunately, it's mostly just a delaying tactic. And you know what? Looking at the Djinn's team right now, they lost quite a few players. That was actually 6. That's 2/3 of their team dead. So they basically just lost all offensive power at the moment. They need to hang back, or I mean, I suppose they need to do what the Pyro's doing, just try to inch the cart in movement by movement, but really they need to get a concentrated push here, and they need to break this heating up defense that seems to be occurring right now. In the beginning, heating up had problems getting this going, but apparently they finally got it up, and now an Uber coming in for the Fabulous 9. Djinn number 2 and his medic Braz coming on in here looking for some death and blood. They are going to find Kefka and possibly Hamtech, but Hamtech just went down in that instance. So a pretty good push there for the Fabulous 9. The cart getting up the second hill in the meantime. I'm wondering what heating up's answer is going to be to this situation now that they are essentially losing this third point. Sniper, though, clears the cart. A very nice move there. Spy is going to be his replacement, though, so that cart's going to continue going back up. The question is what that Sniper on heating up is trying to do, and it actually ends up he's going to take out Tofi for the Fabulous 9. And now a bombing soldier on the point. Spy goes down. The other soldier actually gets knocked off. Cart rolls part of the way back down. I want to see what the heating up can do. The engineer goes down. The cart will roll all the way back down once again. So this situation actually looking better and better for heating up now, as they have been able to hold this cart in position long enough that things are looking up, as their stopwatch timer is probably about 5 minutes or possibly even 6 at this moment. Now, with Djinn mounting another assault here from the left side. Heavy, and actually Pyro in the 4 here. Heavy not too far behind. Where's his medic? The medic is nowhere to be seen. He's actually farther back here, just hanging out. Braz saying, I'm going to deal with other players. They're not important. Iwa currently holding on to that. Uber soldier is on the cart, and Djinn number 1 not looking like he's going to go down, and the cart will be able to get up the hill. Uber is popped for the heating up team, so we're going to see Uber coming out for the Fabulous 9 anytime soon, and that is very fortunate for the Fabulous 9, as they're going to get a real drop unless they lose a lot of their players, which actually they've just done pretty much. They lost 1/3 of their team in that engagement, and now they're just dropping like flies. Uber doesn't really accomplish too much, actually. I don't think it got a single kill. It may have provided a little bit of DPS harassment and scared the enemy team, but other than that, that Uber essentially accomplished, nil. It accomplished nothing. Hamtep goes down to, well, basically just falls to his death to Djinn, and so the Fabulous 9, once again, they come out on the bottom of that engagement, and Heating Up comes up on top. Heating Up has really got a great position here. Their Heavy is always cycling between the front, and whenever they need an Uber, they are relying on that Heavy. The cart may have gotten up the hill, but it's probably going to start rolling backwards sometime in the near future, now that they're actually keeping players on it. And the Fabulous 9, once again, falling farther behind in this situation. And oh god, I'm on fire, a.k.a. Kuza, who forgot to change his name back to Kuza. He was actually threatened by his team leader that he needed to change that name early on. He did not do so, but not my job to interpret that. Obviously, Omnom coming around the side now, going to try and get the drop on the Heavy, and is not going to happen there. Kefka going to easily deny that, and now the cart rolling forward, at least temporarily, stopping rolling backwards more correctly, at least temporarily, and Kefka just going to sit on it, and it's not going anywhere. And it actually looks like a couple players from Heating Up going to apply a bit of aggression here, especially their demo, trying to push forward here. Number 2 of Djinn will go almost down. He is far in the red, and Pyro goes after him. Captain Oppa, though, will go down, and I got one thing to say about that. Oppa Gangnam Style. But no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Anyway, it looks like the Fabulous 9 going to make for another push here. Demo in the lead. That is Djinn number 2, just applying some nice aggression. Spy comes in from behind, and their medic does go down. Braz taken down by Kuza, and down 3 players for the Fabulous Nine. They may have captured the point, but they essentially came out behind in that situation once again. They're losing players every push they make, and that seems to be their problem at this moment. And just looking at the cart's not even past the third point, technically. They are essentially avoiding this cart and going right around it in an attempt to destabilize Heating Up right now, and that strategy is not working so well for their team at the moment. Captain Opa does go down, and Kefka currently down for Heating Up. Unfortunately, Djinn number 2 and Tofi down for the Fabulous Nine. So again, they're not in the best situation, and they're not with the best team composition, or the best living players, more correctly. And right now, with that Wrangled Sentry, things looking pretty good for Heating Up, actually. They just have to sit back and watch the stopwatch click up. I mean, as long as they get another 5 minutes in between this next point capture, I mean, they've already gotten 1. They've got to be at about 8 minutes right now. As long as they get another 4, basically, they are in an effective range where this can happen. I mean, even right now at the 8-minute mark, they're good. They could make this happen. It would be hard, but they could make it happen, that you could capture everything in 4 minutes. Uber does come out here. Braz sticking mostly to that Demo Man, but switching over to the Heavy at least for a moment. With the Uber running out, he's going to try and go on the Soldier. Will get taken out by a counter Uber from Heating Up, and Djinn number 1 goes down as well. Djinn number 2 gets extinguished, and once again, we have a 2/3 team wipe here for that. For the Fabulous Nine, which is not a good situation. They're basically getting wiped by Heating Up over and over again, and Heating Up is just sitting back and laughing right now on defense. It's going to be interesting to see the offensive cycle, if this is just a defensive map. Well, I mean, I know it's not, but if this is just Heating Up being really, really good at defense, or if this is literally just the Fabulous Nine not doing so well. Looks like Wedge will get burnt to death by that flare gun. Back on the other side of things, Master Kunai. Iwa at 80% currently. Over on the other side of things, that's about a 35% Uber advantage. He's going to have that really early compared to Braz, who's actually charging very quickly. Let's see here. Oh, that is indeed a Medigun. Nothing too surprising about that. If only I could get names for this kind of stuff. Either way, the cart continued to roll forward here at a ×3 pace, rapidly approaching. A lot of the members of Heating Up did go down there. Hamtech's still down, actually. Even Kevin's still down. Uber does come out, though, and that's exactly what they needed there. Counter Uber popped, and it looks like Heating Up, those two Pyros are just going to neutralize each other in Uber. So it's not really a bad situation, good situation, or even just a situation, really. Another 2 minutes have been elapsed, so we're about the 10-minute mark now on that timer. So things are looking better and better for Heating Up. And look at the losses on the Fabulous Nine just mounting up right now. Tofi down. Djinn number 2 down. Fig Newton down. Om Nom down. Over on the other side of things, Kefka and Hamtech down. I mean, and Captain Opa pretty important there, but he is still the Pyro. And while the Pyro is great, he's really more useful for just denying Ubers than he really is for much else other than spy checking. And if this is completely incorrect, well, obviously I need to play more Pyro. That should be an obvious thing at this point. So it looks like HT or Heating Up doing a great job of controlling these upper floors right now, not really letting the Fabulous Nine push anywhere other than onto the cart itself or below the cart. If you let them have those upper floors, things can go south for you. So really, this is a great decision from Heating Up to deny them this little upper window and ledge. Master Kunai, I suppose, just throwing grenades and pills down to that lower staircase. Omnom just respawning for the Fabulous Nine here. And they do have an Uber about ready, whereas Iwa is pretty far behind at about 40%. So that's about a 45 or maybe even a 50% Uber advantage, which is about to happen. And there it is. Uber Demo going to get air blasted right into the pit. No, it doesn't actually happen, though, as Captain Opa gets air blasted himself into the pit. And right now, Heating Up in a bad situation. They've lost quite a few players. They're down 4 currently, and Kefka's still alive. He has to make some stuff happen here. Pyro in a bad situation for the Fabulous Nine. He's got that Heavy on it, but the Heavy can't go faster than the cart. Pyro does go down. Medic about to go down, and Heating Up still in a terrible situation. They're down many more players than the Fabulous Nine currently are, and here we go. This is going to be GG here for the Fabulous Nine, setting stopwatch time at 12 minutes and 17 seconds. That is most definitely a manageable time here for the Heating Up team.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
So as I kind of covered throughout the previous round, it seemed like the Fabulous Nine, their primary problem was whenever they went out for a push, whenever they went for an aggressive cycle, they seemed to end up losing more players than the other team did, even when they had Ubers involved in it and the other team didn't. So their problem in general seems just to be damage control, really, and just not being able to manage. I mean, I'm not going to blame it on communications. I'd assume communications is great on a gold level team. But damage control essentially is their problem right now. So over on the heating up side, I mean, their initial problem was they just couldn't get up a defensive system. They just couldn't stop the other team. The other team was essentially on a rampage. The Fabulous Nine just said, nope, we are going to run you over and you are going to like it. And they did just that, essentially. Heating up got ran over for the first 2 points, and then they just set up on that third point and said, nope, we've had enough of your shit. We are sitting here. So I'm just going to watch Iwa out the door here. Let's see how this is going to go, guys. You know what, I'm not going to watch it. I'm counterintuitive, apparently. Sentry in the usual spot. That's what I wanted to see. Sentry back there in that back right corner, or left, depending on your perspective. I guess back left from the blue perspective. Iwa not even moving out the door initially. Spy going to poke his head out and do a bit of a distraction tactic. Very smart play there by heating up. And now Iwa actually going out solo over onto the side to find their Pyro as Kefka goes down to Djinn number 2. Now we're going to see Iwa alongside their Pyro, Captain Opa, and more correctly alongside their Demo now. Master Kuni trying to push forward here. The cart semi-moving forward. Obviously 5 minutes on the timer itself, 11 minutes and 35 seconds on stopwatch. This is more than manageable, and they just really need to push the cart at a steady rate to make that happen. Kefka just returning to the front here, and Iwa not really being too aggressive whatsoever. He's really letting the rest of his team be aggressive while he sits back and waits for the enemy team to pop Uber first. And there goes said Uber. Are they going to pop counter? They're waiting as long as possible so the counter is really effective. But the Kefka goes down, unfortunately. They waited too long on that counter. And Kefka, the player they needed, goes down. Now Iwa in a bad situation. His Uber's running out. The sentry's still up. Heating up, making a big mistake. They're letting Kefka go down instead of countering in time. And even their Demo goes down in that situation. Kefka just respawning. Iwa goes alone against a Pyro and a Scout. Well, his own Pyro's there, but it just goes south for there. And heating up, 2/3 team wipe there, and their Pyro about to go off the cliff. Ooh, it's going to be close. He actually doesn't end up going over the cliff, and Omnom actually ends up getting taken out by Kevin from heating up. So just to zoom out here and have a look around, that sentry is still up. This is essentially the exact opposite of what happened last round. Rather than the first point being rolled, it is first point Fortress here. This is why they have the Fortress in Team Fortress 2, because shenanigans like this happen where a team just literally sits down and says, you are not moving us. This is exactly what happened for Heating Up last round. And right now, Heating Up, whenever they go for an aggressive cycle, whenever they try to push forward, they're the ones sustaining the more losses rather than the Fabulous Nine. So right now it seems like both teams just taking this as a few moments to sit back, relax, and enjoy the silence. And here comes an Uber. Master Koenig juggled alongside Kefka coming forward here. That is going to be Iwa doing a great job. Counter Uber is officially popped. So once the fact that it's a counter Uber has occurred, Heating Up is most likely going to lose this confrontation actually. It's close, but it looks like they're actually coming out on top right now. Tofi went down. Omnom went down, Djinn number 2 went down, only Kefka really went down for Heating Up right now, so Heating Up actually does come out on that situation. They handled that very well, they let the Uber push forward, then they just kind of disintegrated the moment the Uber ran out. I mean, one moment they're all there, and the moment they're not, and that kind of left Braz and his team sitting there wondering what the fuck happened. So with 9 minutes and 17 seconds remaining on stopwatch and 3 points to go and no one on the cart, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's those situations where you simply can't get off the cart. You need to stay on the cart. You need to keep it pushing. There isn't really an excuse unless the enemy team is currently down your throat and saying, get the fuck off the cart. In the meantime, though, Heating Up going to push onto this upper ledge that I'm currently looking at. Heavy, that is Kefka coming out of the upper window, and the enemy Heavy does go down. So Tofi down once again. Kefka on fire, trying to find his medic. Can't find him. Iwa obviously nowhere in this equation that he needs to be, and an Uber comes out for the Fabulous 9. That is going to be, who is that? Dear God, that is Omnom and his medic Braz coming on out here. Engineer going to go not off the cliff, he barely stays on, and once again we see that the heating up team is going to come out on top of that engagement. They barely lose Deyosha, but he stays up, and in fact Djinn number 2 goes down, Omnom goes down, only Wedge really going down to Senor Alberto. I like names like those. Anyway, the cart continue to roll forward here at a ×3 pace. Very nice pace. That's what they need to maintain, and suddenly they aren't doing so. Heating up just kind of vanishes off of the cart there, and their scout finally gets back on it here. Some nice DPS from the soldier of Fabulous 9 coming out towards the cart there. Helmtech just respawning here. So let's see what the Fabulous 9 can do. They obviously want to end up in that situation that Heating Up ended up. They really want to defend this point like there isn't a tomorrow, and the scout hops off of it and lets the cart roll back down. So, I mean, this is essentially just one team waiting for the other. And here comes the Uber actually from Heating Up. That is going to be their demo. Master Cooney pushing forward here, but a counter Uber from Fabulous 9 going to seriously ruin that for them. But Djinn number 2 goes down again. But no, it is actually going to be Heating Up going out the bottom of that equation. Losing a 2/3 team like that. Shit, that might as well have been an entire team wipe, actually, as there's a couple of players respawning right as the other ones died. Really, that came really close to being a full team wipe there for Heating Up. Really, really close. But in the meantime, something I didn't quite notice, the cart actually did make it up the first hill, and it got to the bottom of the second hill. The enemy spy literally just sitting his ass on the cart saying, "Come and get me, boys." Kefka goes down to a headshot from Senor Alberto. That's one of those things you don't want to be seeing on Heating Up right now, because he was only at a 38%, whereas Braz is at 95%. So we're actually going to see... We're probably going to see Braz actually hold on to it. We're going to see Braz and the Fabulous 9 just hold on to that Uber, sit on top of it, and not push with it whatsoever, and just wait for the Uber so they can counter Uber, which is a very smart decision unless the rest of their team dies during that counter Uber, which is something we've been kind of seeing during these matchups. Counter Uber, for some reason, everyone around the Uber dies, obviously. The Uber itself can't die, but everyone else just dies, essentially. And it's the team that sustains less losses other than the Uber that really comes up on top of that situation. It is an Uber from Braz, actually, and it's going to be a counter Uber from Iwa, a.k.a. Heating Up. And it will be Heating Up coming out. Oh, it's close, but it actually looks like Heating Up comes out on top of that situation. They only lose their demo, medic, and pyro, whereas the other team lost 5 players instead of those 3. And another one was Tofi now, as Tofi goes down on the cart, taken out by Deyosha. That's a 2/3 team wipe, and actually that's an... Oh my god, that's almost a full team wipe. It might as well have been a full team wipe, though. Kai was the only one still alive, and he's about to go down, actually. He's so far in the red. Why is he even alive? Kai, though, will stay alive, just barely. That might as well have been a full team wipe for the Fabulous 9. And now Heating Up, pressing their advantage they realize they have, but they're going to run into this wall that the Fabulous 9 is trying to establish. Since they had this spawn wave come out, they're all going to be here, they're all going to be ready to defend, except for the fact that they don't have an Uber. And actually, it's not too far of an Uber advantage for Iwa, so it's going to be close for both sides here. The cart's still rolling forward with 5 minutes on the timer. It's going to be interesting to see how this happens. A 5-minute stopwatch time is very... Ooh, actually, 1 second. Uber does come out, and I accidentally pressed spacebar. Uber comes out here for the Heating Up team. They are pushing right out. And so far, Tofi, Braz, Omnom just respawning. Actually, Djinn number 1 goes down. Things looking pretty good for Heating Up right now with 40... And actually, this might be GG here. This is going to be close. Let's see if the Fabulous 9 can get anyone on it. It's going to be close. Player Scout still on it. The Scout actually gets taken off, so it will not be GG quite yet. But Fabulous 9 losing almost all of their players. Braz and Djinn, the only one up currently. Djinn going to bomb the cart and keep them off, at least temporarily. Now the heavy Kefka from Heating Up going to be the one to get onto the cart here. And he is not going to be so easily displaced. The medic tries to save it, but... that will be GG, and that is actually a full team wipe for Djinn. An unfortunate circumstance. A full team wipe to end the match. Interesting thing to see there. And it looks like they will be taking it initially. For all terms and purposes, I'm going to call that round 1 of Upward. While they're switching over, I'm going to go ahead and just go back to this screen. So that puts out Heating Up at 1. So... From assumption, this is a best of 3. That is my assumption. So if Djinn can take this second round, it's going to go into the third round. But if Heating Up can take this second round as well, then it is going to be all heating up here, and they're going to take the match pretty much instantaneously. It all depends on how this next round is going to go. The team's already switched over, actually, and now we're just waiting for halftime to end. As soon as that happens, I will bring you guys back into the loop here. So this time we kind of ran into this situation where the entire push, the entire offensive, was depending on which Uber was killing more of the other team, but not the other Uber. The other Uber doesn't matter if you counter Uber each other. If you just do a head-on Uber clash, it all comes down to, can you kill more of the enemy players? In that situation, you're basically going to come out on top of that engagement. Obviously, the two teams in-game currently just taking a break, it appears, and sitting back and not doing anything. And it looks like they might actually be dropping out 1 or 2 players. No, that is incorrect. They are keeping all players in at this moment. Some random person is joining. Don't ask me who. I really don't know. Wow, that's what I gotta say about this. Wow, actually. So the teams have been switched. We are back on the timer here. I'm going to bring you guys back into the loop. So, guys, welcome to round number 2 here on Upward. Let's see if Djinn, or more correctly, I'm just going to say that for Djinn's Famous 9. Let's see if Djinn's Famous 9 can take round 2 and bring us into the third stage / overtime. And let's see if the Heating Up team will be able to just take this outright and win this second round. Looking immediately, it looks like 3 players actually committing suicide for their engineer. As if 2 wasn't enough, you need 3, apparently. I'm not sure. That may have been a communication that they had. All 3, including their soldier, committed suicide. Usually, you wouldn't want your soldier to commit suicide for your engineer, because your soldier's a soldier. He's one of your base components of your team, and I suppose this is really just the Fabulous 9 saying we are going to heavily rely on our engineer here, and we want him to stay up. Or more correctly, we want him to be ready for this push that's about to hit him like a brick.
3, 2, 1.
So now I'm going to watch Kefka out the door here. It looks like Uber's already on both sides, as I'm pretty sure it's not crits. That'd be pretty strange to have a crits right now. Considering that Iwa is hanging back pretty safely here, yeah, that is most definitely going to be an Uber. Iwa, if it were crit streak, would have already pushed it out. He would have already attacked outright. And so far, Heating Up, kind of repeating the trend of last round as well, where they're losing quite a few players pushing out, but they haven't lost Kefka yet. Master Cooney, in the meantime, actually does go down to Djinn number 2. So that's one of your key components that basically loses you your ability to lose that you lose your ability to kill that sentry, and I can't speak sometimes apparently. Looks like they are going to finally use that Uber. Pyro is going to try and delay it as long as possible. Medic actually switches off in order to go onto the Demoman. A very smart play there. Kefka, in order to get forward, he has to drop that minigun ready status, and to do that, you waste so much time if you're getting air blasted by the Pyro, that switching off to the Demo is actually a very smart decision, and Fabulous 9 actually does lose quite a few players. That wasn't really an Uber clash. I don't actually know what happened to Braz there. Wasn't paying attention. Apologies for that. Stopwatch time is set at 1 minute and 4 seconds. So let's see how Heating Up can do, as they are the ones setting the time now, and it is on them to establish how hard the next stage is going to be. Apparently classifying it as rounds is not a good idea. So Kefka pushing forward here once again. Not really any advantage Uber-wise. Iwa not too far ahead, not too far anywhere really. He's about 10% ahead, and he actually stops healing for a few moments there, so now he's only 6% or so ahead. Make that 10, actually. He's about 10. Yeah, he's 10. Either way, I'm assuming Iwa's going to be pretty conservative with this Uber again. They are essentially waiting for the Fabulous 9 to fuck up before they even pop Uber. They are waiting for them to make the mistake, so they don't need to. And with 4 players down so far, that's a pretty good mistake. Though Kefka does run right into an Uber heavy, and that's usually not a good situation. It will indeed be Heating Up coming out on top of that situation. They only lose Kefka and one other player. whereas the Djinn's Fabulous 9 do lose approximately 4, and again they lose. They come out on top of that engagement too, actually, as the Fabulous 9 lose again another 4 players or so, and this time Tofi goes down. So not only is Tofi not at the front, but Djinn number 2 is not at the front. No, he is actually. He's back at the front. My bad. But anyway, the cart continuing to move here. It's going up the second hill. The time of 1 minute and 50 second stopwatch time. Oh my god, what steroids are you taking heating up? That's a ridiculous stopwatch time actually for those first 2 points. It looks like they will stall at least temporarily on this third point, which will probably raise stopwatch to about 3 minutes right now. So with Fabulous 9 doing a pretty good defense at this time, Djinn number 1 is down, Kai down, Omnom just respawning, and Iwa still holding that Uber, Braz still holding, oh, no longer holding that Uber actually, counter Uber, but Braz has no one to Uber, finally he finds his heavy, finally something happens, and they manage to take down the Wrangled Sentry as well. Kefka in the meantime goes down, lots of players in the red for the Fabulous 9 right now, but 5 players are down for heating up. Finally, those players in the red do go down, including Braz goes down. Somehow, someway, I'm not even sure how, the Fabulous 9 again managed to come out on the bottom of that situation, and Heating Up came out on top of that engagement. I'm not even sure how they're doing this anymore, but Heating Up is most definitely coming out on top of these engagements, and that was a 2/3 team wipe there for a few moments for the Fabulous 9, and that was the capture of the third point, raising stopwatch to 4 minutes. So let's just see how well Fabulous 9 can defend this final point. This is going to be a ridiculous stopwatch time. The Heating Up is already pushing in onto this final point. They've already got their heavy pushing around. I'm not sure where he went. There he is. Kefka just back up in this window. Fabulous 9 down 3 players, including their medic, and Tofi goes down again. Finally, Kefka gets taken out, somewhat evening the odds, but Djinn's Fabulous 9 definitely on the back foot here, with the Heating Up team essentially just being given free reign to push forward here. Master Cooney does go down. Kefka just respawning. They do have a 30% Uber advantage for Heating Up, so let's see how that's going to go, as it looks like this last point is going to be held for a somewhat good amount of time. I mean, this defensive situation, not bad at all for the Fabulous 9. The real question is how they're going to handle the push that's going to come from Heating Up. And so far, Djinn has to abandon the upper floor. They quickly abandon these outer floors, actually, and that gives Heating Up free reign over the exact thing that's essentially going to give them this. The cart only right there. Kefka does get taken out by a level 1 sentry, and the timer is still ticking down here. Iwa goes down as well, actually. That is a big pick. Iwa gets taken out. Heating Up's medic goes down. Their demo goes down. Their engineer goes down. And as far as I can tell, they don't have a teleporter up, so all of the players are just hoofing it right now to the front line. They do have a teleporter up, and it doesn't... It's an okay teleporter. Doesn't go exactly where Heating Up needs it to go, but it goes far enough that it helps. So once again, the Fabulous 9, I'm not sure if it's overextension, I'm not sure if it's players just being idiots, but they've got lots of players just dying for some reason. And once again, Heating Up, already controlling these outer ledges, already controlling these outer floors. It looks like Djinn number 1 will come out and at least try to clear them. Kai with the Ambassador trying to be an ambi sniper. But he's going to get into the equation here. And you know what, we're going to watch the spy for a moment, because Heating Up is on the cart. And there we go. They're able to delay the cart, but Soldier already back on it. It's close, but that is GG. Setting the clock at 6 minutes and 14 flippin' seconds. What? Just,
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Wow. Holy shit. That's what I gotta say about this. Holy shit. 2 players commit suicide. They're heavy committing suicide. Kefka commits suicide for the engineer. That is... Pyro commits suicide too. That is really strange that they have the heavy of all people commit suicide. That is seriously strange in my book, that you would actually have the heavy commit suicide. But back on what I was actually having such an orgasm about there. 6 minutes and 14 flippin' seconds on that stopwatch time. That is insane. That is truly insane for a stopwatch time. 8 minutes is considered the time where you can really have a chance of beating it. But 6 minutes and 14 seconds, they would... This is what has to be essentially. They need to keep players on it at all times. They need to keep players on that cart. They cannot get off it for even the flipping second, essentially. They just have to stay on it. They have to roll heating up right now. If that cart stalls, they are already losing. So we're going to watch Iwo out here using that medigun on defense. It looks like Kefka managed to get back to the front line in time to be in the equation, and Djinn number 2 going down already. That doesn't really bode well. Apparently he was trying to bomb the medic, but he ended up getting mowed down by that heavy Kefka. So now, I mean, the regular in-game timer essentially resembles what stopwatch is. If they can defend this first point for 5 minutes, they've already won. Level 3 Sentry trying to do some work here. Dayosha will go down to Kai, who probably dead rings out of the situation. No, it looks like he does actually just go down regularly. And now an Uber coming out for heating up, and counter Uber hasn't actually occurred for Braz yet. They're waiting for this Uber to expire before they do it, apparently. Now I believe it's only a matter of time. There it goes, actually. Braz will Uber. Can I find him? Yes, I can. There is Braz Ubering just on the tail end of it, and heating up loses 5 of their players. And that is the capture. The first point resetting the clock to 7 minutes and 25 seconds, and now they have 3 minutes to capture, or 5 minutes to capture 3 points. That is about, thereabouts a minute and 20 seconds per point. That's pretty crazy. More like a minute 30, actually. But time is still ticking down here. The cart, while it is moving pretty rapidly here, it has pretty far distance to go. Kefka goes down, Hamtek goes down for heating up, and actually the Fabulous 9 in a pretty good situation here. But, Braz getting headshot there. A nice pick there by Wedge, and that is what's going to ruin that push there for the Fabulous 9. And an Uber coming out. Where is he? There he is. Iwo right there on the tail end of that Uber. Djinn number 1 did go down. Not to that Uber specifically, but he did go down in specific. Now, 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining on the stopwatch time. Now it is down to about a minute and 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Yeah, minute and 25 seconds per point. Crazy shenanigans right there. And time, unfortunately, is still ticking down. But they do have a minute and 25 seconds to capture this next point, technically, but they need to capture it. Uber and counter Uber, that was a very strange situation, but counter Uber does go down for the Fabulous 9, and somehow, how does that Pyro get out of that? Captain Opa will actually manage to get out of that situation without dying, and the Fabulous 9 actually came out on the bottom of that engagement once again. I mean, I kind of hate to say this, but it seems like heating up is just the superior team in this situation. They seem to be coming out on top of situation or engagements most of the time, and that's pretty much what's giving them this game right now. And I kind of suspect at this point players are getting kind of tired too. I don't know when this match occurred, but it has been about 30 minutes since the start of the match, and continuous competitive TF2 is a pretty draining event. Kefka down currently for heating up, Hamtek down as well. It seems like those two players are down the most for heating up, which is kind of strange because they are the core players, so you wouldn't expect them to be going down quite as much as they are. So in the meantime, the Fabulous 9 pushing in once again. 5 minutes remaining on the actual timer and 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the stopwatch timer. That is now less than 1 minute to capture 3 points. And Uber and counter Uber does come out for heating up, and the Fabulous 9. It looks like Kefka goes down once again. Djinn number 2 goes down. Omnom goes down. And now everyone goes down for the Fabulous 9, essentially. It's an almost full team wipe. It's 8 out of 9, actually. Only Omnom remains standing, and he might have just respawned anyway. So that is very close to a full team wipe there for the Fabulous 9. And heating up again comes out on top of that engagement. 2 minutes remaining, and at this time, I think it is safely okay to say that heating up has taken round number 2, ending this match with 1 minute and 40 seconds to capture 3 points. You can't even push the cart that fast. You can't. That is less than 45 seconds per point. It seriously just doesn't happen. You just can't push the cart that fast anymore, especially with it rolling backwards. I think the Fabulous 9 may have actually kind of I mean, they may have realized that at this point. I think they're just trying to capture this third point, or second point. They are just grudging right now. They want to win this second point. They want to say, we at least captured the second point in the end of the round. Kefka is currently down. Hamtech is down. So they have a pretty good chance here. Engineer is on it. Level 3 is still up, though, for heating up, though. And that Engineer, unfortunately, does step off of the cart and will get mowed down by that level 3 sentry. Less than 1 minute remaining on stopwatch. So let's see here. Can the Fabulous 9 capture this second point? Uber coming forward to see if they can do just that. Uber almost outranges the medic, and they're going after Kefka. Sentry getting sapped in the meantime. Will it actually go down? No, it will not. Sentry remains standing, and now we're going to see the Fabulous 9 trying to push around this corner. 35 seconds remaining on the stopwatch timer. The current moving forward once again from a scout, but a Pyro going to delay or destroy that push, essentially. And now Heating Up is actually pushing forward with an Uber. I don't even think the Fabulous 9 are going to be able to capture this second point, unfortunately. So with 15 seconds remaining, that is officially going to be GG here. They will be unable to capture this second point even. I mean, I don't want to call it a humiliating loss. Certainly in this round. In this round, this is definitely a humiliating loss here for the Fabulous 9. And that will be GG, giving it to Heating Up. That will be a gain, not a game, but a game of 2-0 in favor of Heating Up. It was well fought between the two teams, and I'll cover a bit more of that in a few moments. So, that was definitely a good match there between Heating Up and Djinn's Fabulous 9, but in the end, it does go to Heating Up 2-0, and I gotta say, for a gold match, that was fun. But for the actual definition of the match, I gotta say that Heating Up just outplayed them here. Heating Up most definitely just outplayed Djinn's Fabulous 9 in this situation, especially in Round 2. Round 2, a 6-minute stopwatch time. That is crazy. 6 minutes. That is honestly crazy. I haven't seen a 6-minute stopwatch time on this map since, like, Pros v Pubs, essentially. That was probably the last time I saw a 6-minute stopwatch time here. So that is pretty crazy for my definition. If I had to give an overall thing here, I would say Heating Up, team composition very well. They played together very well. They were cohesive. They knew how to play with each other. Djinn's Fabulous 9, they also knew how to play with each other, but they may have gotten spread out a little bit. They may have fallen apart here and there, and that led to them losing engagement after engagement after engagement, and that just essentially gave Heating Up the game right there. Just that ability not to lose engagements. Just that ability to be able to push the cart because they came out on top of those engagements. Because their Uber killed more players, they were able to push the cart, or they were able to stop the cart, really. So overall, great game to both teams there. It was fun to watch it. It was fun to record it. It was fun to commentate it. I hope I can see more content from one of these two teams, maybe even both of them. I have been Panksters. I have been your host. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for